Yeah, great to be down here today at Sydney ICC Theatre for the announcement of Nikita Tszyu and Cole Mazzudio. Obviously, we announced this venue yesterday, and today tickets are on sale today. So a big moment for us, a huge fight for Australian boxing, a great domestic fight, great matchup, one that's been in the works for a very, very long time. And I'm excited that we are getting it on here at such a great venue here in Sydney.
Why Sydney?
Look, it's been something that we've been working on for a number of months. Obviously, there's been a lot around the Tim Tszyu fight about where it's going to be and where we're going to have it, and so we had to wait for that before we made a decision, and we just came to the point where we're ready to do it. The venue's available. It's a perfect venue for a fight like this. We'll have a great crowd here in Sydney, two great Sydney fighters who will draw very well here, and I think it'll make for a really good night. That's probably a big reason why we've ended up here.
Cohen's obviously been around a long time, mate. Experienced campaigner. He's going to ask a lot of questions in Nikita, isn't he? Oh,
absolutely. And Cohen's style, he's made for Nikita Tszyu. We see Nikita does often get caught. Cohen's a guy who pushes through big rounds. You don't see Cohen falling early in any of his fights. He's a guy who pushes the pace, who sticks around. He's a very classy boxer, very good boxer, and everybody that he's been in with, it's always been a close fight. Win, lose or draw, it has always been a close fight. So it's absolutely going to test Nikita, and this is what Nikita wants. Nikita wants to keep growing. You know, he became the Australian champion. He wants to keep growing. He's fighting a guy who, you know, this time last year was ranked top 10 in the world. So it's a great step up for Nikita and a great matchup, and one that I think that the fans will really enjoy this fight. I think they're two guys who will match it up really well and really give us some excitement on the night. So there might be some nerves from us ringside, but it'll be a very exciting fight either way.
Cohen's a guy that's been in deep water a couple of times and survived the test. I remember the Wade Ryan fight. Like, this is a guy that doesn't really know how to quit. Nikita has made a lot of guys quit.
Yeah.
Do you think this will be an old-fashioned war in a lot of ways? Because Cohen quite likes one, even though he's probably better suited to boxing, but he doesn't mind having one.
Absolutely, and I think Nikita's a guy who jokes around about how he loves the blood, he loves the warfare. I think he's absolutely going to get it in this fight. I think Cohen's a guy who's going to really push that out of him. And for Nikita to get the win in this fight, we're going to have to see, you know, his full arsenal. We're going to have to see what Nikita has on offer to be able to get a win against Cohen, because Cohen is no pushover.
Nikita's obviously over in the US right now, getting some very, very quality sparring in. We've seen what that's done for Tim in the past, where he's ripped through US fighters over there and gone to another level. And this is really the first time Nikita's had the chance to do that. What do you think he'll benefit from?
Look, I think the quality of sparring that you get over there is unmatched. Here we've got a lot of great guys in the super welterweight division here in Australia, but they're also guys that are going to be your opponent in the next 12 months. So to get good sparring here and to be able to advance, it makes it very difficult. You can't spar against the guys that you want to fight, and Nikita wants to fight absolutely anyone who's on offer here in Australia. So Cohen's a guy who would have been great sparring for him in the past, but he's a guy that he also wants to fight. So that's the situation that he's in, and by going over to the States, you get to level up, you get to fight some of the best guys in the country, and they've got a much bigger population base than we have here in Australia. So there's guys lining up, begging for opportunities over there, and they're guys that are hungry, that can fight, who will take Nikita's game to the next level. And what we'll see from Nikita here on August 28th is we could see Nikita stepping up to another level, and that's scary to think, because we've already been really impressed by what he's offered so far.
You guys have obviously signed Michael Zarafa. Do you see a world in which he fights Nikita pretty soon? I mean, Nick had a few choice words to say recently. I
think it's very hard to come back from a big loss. We'll see what Michael Zarafa has coming back off that loss, fighting for a world title at the absolute peak of the sport. So he's got a guy in front of him in Tommy Brown who, you know, this is his backyard. He's a Sydney guy. He gets people turn up for Tommy Brown, and you know, it's going to be a very, very tough experience for Michael here on August 28th. So a big test for Zarafa. We won't know what's next for him until we see how good he is on that date.
Is there something, I don't know, Team Tszyu has sort of spoken about as well, the potential of a Michael Zarafa fight decision?
Look, I think the bad blood that existed between the Tszyu and Zarafa, it'll never go away. Things were said during that build-up that, I think somebody wanted retribution for it, whether that's Tim, whether that's Nikita, whether it's anybody in the family. I think there's retribution there that's wanted from the family at some stage. So if it happens, I think it'll be great. I think it'll be a great fight for Australian boxing. I think it'll be an exciting one. No matter who ends up getting that opportunity, I think both of the Tszyu have shown their level here in Australian boxing, and even for Nikita, moving on to that global level as well. So I know though for a fact that Nikita definitely isn't looking past this fight. This is the toughest fight of his career.
If Zarafa gets past Tommy Brown convincingly, is that the next fight, or you want to see a bit more of it?
Look, if Zarafa makes a statement and he lets everyone know that he's back, that he's still one of the best in the country, then we've got to give him a good fight. We've got to put him in there. We want to see good fights. We want to see tough fights. So we'll definitely be making a very exciting fight for him next if he can put on a good show.
What about Timmy's? I mean, he was obviously supposed to fight Lubin at one point. That's fallen over for like the third time. Is there a chance that the next fight is for the IBF belt?
Look, anything's possible, but nothing's confirmed until it's locked in and it's announced, and people are here on our shores. So I'll never jump the gun on that, but there is a lot happening in the background at the moment, and we're looking forward to announcing something very exciting for Tim Tszyu in the very near future.
Sounds like you're working on another big one then, Georgie.
It's always a big one. Whenever Tim Tszyu fights, it's a big one. So, a Tim Tszyu show, if we get it here in Australia, mate, it's amazing. It's always the best shows that we do. So, Tim Tszyu here in Australia will be a great fight, and when his opponent's announced, you'll be very excited, Cody.
How is he at the moment? Because I mean, this is a guy that's so used to being active, has missed out on a number of big fights, and is now over in the US sparring, and from all accounts, destroying the guys that he is sparring. Are we going to see a new level of Tim and a guy that wants to make up for the Fundora loss?
We always see Tim grow with every fight that he has, and believe it or not, he actually gets better with every fight. I still think that he's the best in the division by far, and the fact that he's going to get better and keep getting better. It's exciting because who knows where the ceiling is for Tim Tszyu. I don't think there's a ceiling for Tim Tszyu. I think that he'll get through absolutely everyone who steps in front of him. The Fundora fight was it was an anomaly that did I even spit that out right?
An anomaly.
An anomaly. No. You know what I'm saying. It was a fight. It's something that we never expected, and something that you had it happened to absolutely anyone, the same outcome happens. The fact that he still lost by one round in a fight where he couldn't see anything, it shows the level that he's at. But put that in the past. That's absolutely in the past, and what lies ahead for him are great fights.
Is Fundora in the past?
No, well, that fight's in the past, but he's definitely not. No, he's definitely on the list. Yeah, absolutely everyone's on the list, and there's a great list of names. We just saw Charlo announce that he's back and that he wants to be the king of the 154-pound division again. So that's exciting for us because it's a fight that we've wanted since he ruined our Christmas a few years ago. So we're looking forward to that. Tim's looking forward to that. There's great fights ahead for him. And also for these guys that sit in that division right now. Nikita and Cohen sit in that division. So they continue to grow, they continue to level up, and they'll also be in the realms of fighting these guys as well in the coming years.
A few guys in that division fighting this weekend in LA. A card that Tim was supposed to be on. What do you make of some of those fights? Crawford, Majumov, are those guys in the mix down the line?
Yeah, look, I'm really interested in that fight. Crawford coming up, when you come up in weight, you've got to hit your limit eventually. I'm interested to see how he handles coming up to 154 because they're very big boys. Crawford's come a long way to get up there. Don't get me wrong, pound for pound, great. And no disrespect to him in that regard. I think that that he's a brilliant boxer and that he should win this fight. But Majumov is a very strong super welterweight, and Majumov's a guy who will test whether he can handle that size, whether he can handle that weight. So I'm expecting Crawford to get the win there, and I'm expecting Tim to fight Crawford in the future.
Just on Tim's next fight, is That September date in Australia, that's still locked in. That's what you're working towards?
That's what we're working towards, yep.
A word on Harry Garside, mate, a guy you've worked closely with in the past, very heartbroken, said he was a failure after being knocked out of the Olympics in the opening round and sacrificed a very lucrative professional career to go and pursue that Olympic dream.
Look, Harry's not a failure by any regard. He put everything on the line. He put all of his heart and soul into that effort to be ready for that fight. Very tough, very awkward fight, and has not lost a single supporter in what he did. He chased greatness. Unfortunately, he didn't achieve that over there in Paris, but he's still an amazing fighter. He's still an amazing person, and there's a big future still for him. No matter what he chooses to do, he's a guy that Australians love.
Do you expect to see him back in the pros pretty soon?
I'd love to see him in the pros. I think he's a guy that people, love and want to support, and regardless of his performance over there, I think he'd still have a great professional career in front of him. So whatever he chooses to do, we'll be supportive of him. We've loved working with him in the past, and I know that he'll be great in the future.
What about the super heavyweight, Terry Moana? Very impressive, and I imagine No Limit sitting there going, "Ooh, we might add you to the stable."
I like heavyweights. I'm a big boy. I like big boys. So it was great to see him get a win, and I really want to see our Australian boxing contingent go really well over there in Paris. I think we've got a lot of talent in that squad, and I think there's guys that can still win medals. Harry's obviously one of the biggest names of that team, and so everybody was watching his journey closely. But there's still a lot of talent in that team, and I think there's guys here that can, guys and girls obviously, but that can win gold. And I think some of our female boxers there, I think they'll be really pushing for gold. And I think Terry Moana's performance, he shows that he's got the power to change a fight. And you absolutely love seeing that.